Oh, it's about that time.
Well, what that sound means is it's about that time for the IRS train wreck of the week. And what that means is this is the segment of the show where I talk about somebody who came in and frankly, they were a train wreck. I mean, they owed the IRS a whole bunch of money, and usually, almost without fail, they leave smelling like a rose. So in this particular case, it was actually an offer in compromise. My client came in and he owed $549,428.58. So we'll call it $550. Okay, we'll round it up to $550. And it came out. A lot of times I post these results on my Facebook page, and people get upset. And
that's when we get the hate mail, and we have fun with the shows like we did a couple weeks back.
Get all the haters come out, and they're like, "I owed $500,000. He must be a crook." Okay, so in this case, what happened is this particular gentleman sold his business. Okay, and like a lot of times, he had a contract to work within that business as a consultant or provide some services. I don't remember what. So he was still kind of involved in the business, but not really. And part of the terms of the sales contract were that there was a smaller outstanding payroll tax liability, and the new owners were supposed to assume that from the sale, and they were supposed to pay it. And then they were, obviously, everybody's supposed to pay their payroll taxes going forward. And that's not what happened in this case at all. What happened is the other partners, not only did they not pay the limited amount that was due already, but they went ahead and they racked up a whole bunch more tax debt. Okay, and so pretty soon it was almost $550,000. And so what we did is we filed an offer in compromise. And when we filed that offer, the offer amount was $66,831. Now, that was based upon a very limited amount of monthly disposable income and half of the equity in my client's house. It was only half the equity because his spouse was not liable for this old payroll tax penalty because she wasn't involved in the business. So it was only his half of the equity in the house.
I may have missed this. Did he sell the business somewhere along the way?
Yeah, he sold the business, and he sold the business, and then they racked up the tax debt, a lot of it, after he had sold it. So he's just an employee at that point in time. Okay. But the IRS still made the determination that he was responsible and he should have done something. And he did try to do a lot, actually. While this was all going on, they're not paying the payroll taxes. He's pounding the table and screaming from the rooftops that they're doing this wrong, and they just ignored him. Anyway, they racked up about $550,000 worth of tax liability. So we filed this offer for $66,831, and the IRS accepted it as filed, no questions.
So how do we not counteroffer and try to?
That never
almost out of time or
that
something?
That never happens. No, the statute of limitations wasn't long. They had a lot of time left on it, like maybe 7 or 8 years, and it just worked out really great. And I
wonder if the ownership interest changing had anything to do with it.
It did, and the offer specialist realized that my guy wasn't really the bad guy in this equation, and she also realized he was getting a pretty good deal. It's a little bit more than 10 cents on the dollar, right? But this particular client, it just doesn't always happen. I kind of wish it did, but this particular client became a very good friend of mine, and it could not have happened for a nicer guy.